Happy Wednesday! I'm Tristan Winder in the News 2 streaming studio at the Morning Pulse here on this April 16th. The North Platte Pow Wow has received a $4,000 grant from Humanities Nebraska. The North Platte Pow Wow is honored to announce a $4,000 grant from Humanities Nebraska, a statewide nonprofit that supports public programs fostering understanding, respect, and engagement through the humanities. The generous funding will help enhance the educational components of the 2025 North Platte Pow Wow, including guest speakers, cultural demonstrations, and historical presentations as well. The North Platte Pow Wow is held on the historic grounds of the Buffalo Bill State Historical Park, a site once tied to the Wild West show. Today it's transformed into a celebration of resilience, unity, and cultural exchange. The event draws participants and spectators from across the region and beyond, offering an opportunity to lead from native voices and traditions firsthand. The $4,000 grant from Humanities Nebraska is supported by the National Endowment for Humanities and the Nebraska Cultural Endowment as well. It'll directly fund humanity-based programming, helping bridge cultural gaps and ensure educational experiences for attendees of all ages and backgrounds. We are now entering to the planting season here in Nebraska, and in addition to raising crops, farmers and ranchers are watching what's going on in the nation's capital. Less than a week ago, the White House announced that they would back off of tariffs for some countries for 90 days. But the tariffs on China will stay in place, and that could impact Nebraska agriculture products like soybeans. The Nebraska Farm Bureau Senior National Affairs Director Jordan Dukes says that there's already been some movement on soybeans here across the Good Life.
What we've seen is USDA sending out a report a couple of weeks ago that indicated that farmers are going to plant a little bit more corn than they will soybeans. And soybeans, probably more than a lot of other commodities, are very trade dependent.
Elsewhere, according to the Associated Press, ranchers are hopeful that tariffs will make it more desirable for Americans to turn on beef raised at home and to create more of the incentive for them to raise more cattle as well. Though they say it's still uncertain as tariffs have been changing so much since they were first initially announced. In other statewide news today, the Nebraska Department of Transportation has released the March data for the traffic deaths across Nebraska. In all, 16 people were killed in crashes on roadways in the state. Of those, the Nebraska Department of Transportation says that only 2 people confirmed to have been wearing a seatbelt. The department adds that 4 people died on interstates, while 6 deaths were on highways. The number of traffic deaths so far in 2025 is now at 49. Last year, 22 fatalities were reported in March of 2024. Again, data from just a year ago. And here's a pretty interesting story out of Minnesota. A rare cougar in the Minneapolis area made a 500-plus mile journey from Nebraska and is being preserved. The cat was prowling through a Minneapolis neighborhood and was sadly hit by a car. A taxidermy costing around $11,000 and took 60 hours to complete is now on display with a Minnesota and Nebraska landscape with the number 530 to represent the miles traveled during the cougar's journey to Minnesota. It's on display at the Nature Center in Minneapolis. So how cool. A taste of the good life, taste of Nebraska on display there in Minnesota. The horrors of war can be hard to fathom. Omaha nurse Will Masai has been to Gaza twice and is giving people a better idea of things that he saw there. He volunteered through various organizations, explaining how he has seen a rash of gunshots and bombing patients as well, many of them women and children.
As a healthcare worker, holding the brains of a child in my hands after being shot by Israeli forces is not something that you will ever forget. What people need to know is that we said before, never again is now. Stop the killing. Why? Why should we be paying for that?
In national news today, measles cases continue to rise in the U.S. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, there are now over 700 confirmed cases in 24 states. The worst of the outbreak is in the South Plains regions of Texas, where the Department of State Health Services is reporting 541 cases since late January. Most cases have been reported in individuals under the age of 19. At least 2 children have died from measles-related causes so far this year. Measles, of course, is a highly contagious disease and illness, and health officials are urging patients to ensure their children are vaccinated. Children can get vaccinated as early as 12 months. Lastly, the FDA is warning of fake Ozempic, saying that it could pose a safety risk. The FDA and Ozempic drug makers are saying that they found a counterfeit vials of weight loss drugs being sold to consumers. The labels on the products have real lot numbers, and they also have fake serial numbers as well. If the lot number is coupled with the fake serial number, the product is counterfeit and should not be used. Rounding out the morning pulse here on this Wednesday, April 16th, with a check of the 7-day forecast. Warm temperatures in store for us today, but don't get too used to it. Doesn't look like it's going to be sticking around for the end of the work week, and that will extend into this upcoming Easter weekend. Hey, Michael.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?